Yang Train. Welcome, everyone, to episode 2 of the Yang Train podcast, featuring Christopher Wallace and Mr. Carter Valesta.
Thank you very much, sir.
All right, so we are 3/4 of the squad. The fourth squad member can never be here today because he's always at work. He actually works at FedEx, and So actually, I'll tell you the story because you didn't hear it. So me and Aaron were talking on the phone a few weeks back, and ever since February, I've been all about that Yang Train. And he was finally able to have a conversation with me about it. We talked for about an hour. So the first half hour, I went over Yang's Freedom Dividend, $1,000 a month. He had a lot of questions. Your boy had a lot of answers. Facts, reason, logic, all that good shit.
He just want the $1,000, Steve.
And then we went ahead and we talked about like his actual job, how he's doing there. He's making big moves, doing a lot of good stuff. Really happy for him. But it was interesting because he also used to work at UPS. And he worked as a manager there for a few years, and now he's working at the same position in FedEx. And he said one problem with UPS is that they pay their drivers way too much. Especially when it comes to overtime, these guys are making like almost $60 an hour. And that even though the company is a bigger company than FedEx, they're losing a lot of money because of these drivers. And I'm like, well, guess what, motherfucker? They're going to automate away truck driving in 5 to 10 years. That's almost 3 million jobs. 3 million motherfuckers that rely on this income. Most of them lease their truck, so they own that shit. It's not like the company owns it. And they're not going to have a job. What skill set did they have? So what they did is they tried retraining the manufacturing workers, the 4 million that lost their jobs a few years back. Half of them never worked again after they lost their job. Of that group, half filed for disability. When it comes to government funding retraining programs, 0 to 15% had success.
Trash.
That's a motherfucking common F right now. So this is his whole point. We're going to lose a lot of these fucking basic ass jobs that can be automated away, and maybe they should. Should we have to have people driving 14 hours a day in a truck? Terrible on your body. It prevents any like social life. So if you have a family, you're not there. Maybe we should be happy away that we're, doing away with these jobs, that we're having automation do it. But when we don't see the return on investment of that, when we're the people that pitch into these bigger companies like Amazon that are making $1 trillion, soaking up $20 billion of our country's economy every year. If you ask anybody, have you seen stores going away in your town? Yes. Why? My father said yesterday, we finally talked about this. He's like, online. I'm like, yes, Amazon. Because you can buy most of the shit and get it in 2 days. In 5 years, that shit's going to come in 2 hours.
Bro, robotic Uber Eats will not eat your French fries on the way to your house.
Thank you.
That's true.
Thank you. Robotic Uber Eats never has a bad day. They're programmed to do their job.
And this is going to happen regardless.
They can be programmed to set my dog
regardless.
in my house.
So, whether you are in that field or not, eventually, a lot of different fields and everything, look at cashiering.
Okay, that's okay.
It's Chris's job to hold the microphone.
You want to go ahead?
We weren't using it.
Chris, you just
it doesn't make it have gravity.
Can you put that on the other table real quick, Chris?
Buddy, Jesus Christ.
Anyway, this is Yang's whole point. He saw that Donald Trump won in 2016. He didn't understand why, because regardless of how you think about him in terms of politics, he's a very, let's just say, poignant man with how he feels about certain things. Chris, just fucking do something about it.
Let go.
I can't get it to stay up.
We have a recording of him saying that, by the way. We got blackmail in a few years.
Oh, man.
So Yang's whole point is that we're going to be doing away with a lot of these jobs. We're going to automate away truck driving, okay? So 2-3 million people that are truck drivers, right? What about the 5 to 7 million people that work at truck stops, motels, and diners that wait for those truckers getting out of their truck to have a meal, to sleep, to socialize at those different truck stops? What happens when those trucks aren't stopping? They can daisy chain together, so one right after the other, because they're all going to be using GPS. They're all going to know exactly where they are. Have matching speeds, reduces air friction, saves money. It's very efficient. You can't do that with this motherfucker, with people. You can't do that. You couldn't do that with me. I'm gonna get tired. My back's gonna hurt. I'm gonna be emotional one day. That's gonna happen. I have to stop after 14 hours. Those trucks, they're built to stop because you can't drive a certain amount of time past that in a day.
You're gonna be getting complaints like, excuse me, your UPS man yeeted my package through my window today.
So you're not going to have that. You're going to have the machine that pulls up to your door, either knocks, or it's going to know that you like the bell. It's going to know exactly where you like your packages dropped, if you like it dropped in the back of the house. There's a lot of different preferences with people that are very specific. Some people are very stingy with their stuff. Go into the garage. Here's the garage code. I was a package deliverer. You can have a robot know every single one of those person's preferences and not fucking accidentally drop. Okay, when I worked as a package helper for UPS.
Oh, God.
You're in a golf truck with the little space in the back where you can fit packages, and then you have a mini trailer. So every now and then I'd accidentally overshoot the street that I was going on. So I got to make a tough skirt. I shit you not, twice doing that screw. All the packages in the back trailer fell out because the whole thing flipped over. And you don't know how embarrassing it is to pick up 20 packages out of somebody's front yard and having to fix the trailer that just bent in the middle. You have to re-straighten it out by rebending it the other way.
Hey, no, nothing to see here.
Imagine all the people, the thousands and possibly hundreds of thousands of people that took to get that, fucking toy that they ordered from Walmart in front of this person's house. I'm over here dropping it, doing a U-turn. Robot's not going to do a dumbass U-turn like that. Because I was an idiot. But the point is, these are basic jobs that are going to be automated away. We saw the manufacturing workers get automated away, and most of them were in the swing states, the states that Trump needed to win and did win. When he looked at the numbers, the only clear statistical measure was that the districts that had a lot of jobs being lost to manufacturing jobs, lost to automation, saw a swing from blue to red. And it was a huge gulf. Like the most clear kind of numerical factor that you can find in terms of numbers as to why Trump won. Media says what? Russia, racism, Facebook, FBI, Hillary, emails, right? A hodgepodge of fucking shit. And then Yang's like, but there's one clear factor as to why these things are happening that are legitimate. He pieced everything together, and 2 years ago he released a book that pretty much goes over all this and a whole bunch of other shit that we're not going to have time to get into. He released a book that essentially pushes for the concept of universal basic income to be established and that we should have it and the reasons why. The practical reasons, we should just give everybody money, free money. It's not just about that. It's about what you do with the money. Let's say you have a small town of 1,000 people in fucking, Missouri. You give every one of those people, because everybody's going to want to take this $1,000 a month because that's real. It's not some fake program that you have to try to apply to get into, but you're probably not going to, and then you have to do a whole bunch of shit to make sure that you stay in it. No, you get it because you're an American, you're 18 or older. That's it. Those are the only two requirements. Now that town of 1,000 people is getting $1 million pumped directly into it every fucking month. Because 1,000 times 1,000, Chris, you're a smart guy. What's the number? $1 million.
Yeah.
That's that small town. Now imagine every small town. What are you going to do with the money? Most people are going to put that money right back into their economy. You're going to go out to eat. You're going to fix your fucking car. You're going to get Netflix subscription. You might actually get your own, right? Instead of using somebody else's, okay? I might get Disney Plus. So that goes into the cloud, right? That goes into paying for all the Disney shit. But most of it's going to be in our economy. Right. You're going to buy food. You're going to take care of the things that you need to around the house. Maybe you want to do some home improvement. Maybe you want to actually start a business. I would use it to half pay off the rest of my student loans, along with my actual income, as well as supplement my business. Mm-hmm. Somebody might use it to pay off debt that they couldn't because they were underwater. 70% of Americans are living paycheck to paycheck. By the way, that's all of us. You're probably still paying off some kind of debt, right?
Yeah, I mean,
if it's school, it's school.
Yeah, I got a little bit of school debt, not too much, and then my
now in 5 years or even 2 or 3 years, we might not be in that category, but right now we are, and 70% of Americans are too. 50% can't afford a $500 bill. That was me when I was still at school 6 months ago.
Yeah, you got a credit card that shit.
But when the credit card's already starting to get maxed out, which happens to a lot of people, I'm just saying. So, and this was the point that he was making too. There's also a clear indicator where if somebody can't pay their bills, it actually lowers your intelligence by 1 standard deviation, which apparently is a fucking lot. So think about it. You ever been stressed that you couldn't pay your bills and then you had to do something like work and that was consuming your mental bandwidth? You were thinking about it, kind of stressing you out. Mm. That occupies space in your brain. You can't think of a million different things at once.
Got like 2 gigs of RAM.
Okay. Well, that's a whole gig right there for some people. If you can't pay your bills, if your kids are hungry, if you're fucking hungry, if you got into an accident, we are getting more and when you offer a solution that's easy to understand, like it's immigrants, build a wall, right? Simple concepts. It's easier to latch onto, and it's much easier to blame something else than to admit any kind of fault and or to admit that what you thought was right is wrong. That's really tough, and I get it. I'm in that same boat with a number of things. If I found out that Yang was wrong on all this stuff, man, I would feel like dang, now look like an idiot. Dang Yang, I don't want dang Yang. All right, I don't want that.
I get that shirt.
But nobody wants that. That's real. So that's why, and I think what he's doing that's really important too is he's not going about it in a way where he's blaming, Republicans who voted for Trump or anybody who did.
Right.
He understands it, but he's just also looking at the real problems that we can all see and we can all understand. Mm-hmm. You know what's an easier concept? Why are stores closing in your main street? Online, yes. You see kiosks in every retail establishment. It's going to be in every fast food chain. these trucks are going to drive themselves. And how are these truck drivers going to react? You think they're just going to be like, okay, I guess we're losing our fucking jobs. A lot of those guys are ex-military. A lot of those guys will park their truck on the side of the road, block traffic, cause billions of dollars worth of damage. It's going to happen because it happened with the Industrial Revolution that we referenced.
Right.
Costed billions of dollars. A fucking bunch of people died. It was chaos. We had to implement universal high school because of it. Like, that happened. And this is going to be 3 to 4 times worse and faster because of the displacement, because of technology. We've never had this. You guys don't understand how fucking crazy this concept of a cell phone is to me still. Like, we saw this shit progress all the way up.
That's true, we did.
We were born in the age when the internet just started.
Oh, we were on the cusp.
We were on the, but I remember having, a CD player and holding that in my pocket, and that was how I listened to music.
You had a cassette player, even.
I didn't use one, but
I was bumping Brick House on that shit.
Okay, well, there you go. We saw this entire thing play out. Social media is insane because it breaks down the barrier of the gatekeepers having to, stifle somebody to have a voice. It's the ultimate window of access. It's the great equalizer. This is insane. And there's so many things that are happening with technology today that fucking, as a concept, blew my mind. But we also have to be realistic about what we're going to do about our people, our country. Because this situation has never, ever happened. This is a very unique situation where we can pay off for this $1,000 a month with the VAT tax. So, Carter, do you know anything about the VAT tax?
I do not.
So, in Europe, VAT tax is kind of dumb because the T in VAT is tax. But the VAT, essentially, Yang is proposing a 10% VAT on all the goods and services, any kind of transaction. And that would be the $800 billion you would need to cover what wasn't covered by everything else he proposes to pay off for the 3-point-something trillion yearly total. It's the VAT. It's the fact that everybody's going to be spending a lot more money now that we have money. So then you have a whole bunch of tax receipts. It's about the fact that now you're going to spend less money on medical emergencies, homelessness, because people are going to have money. Homeless people are going to have $12,000 a year. If you're a homeless person in San Diego, that's not a lot, but now you get the fuck out of San Diego.
But how would you spend less on medical?
Oh, okay. So if you're a homeless person and you don't have any access to the basic resource that you need to get everything else, money.
Well, yeah, if you're homeless, yes. Right.
Yeah, there's a lot of homeless people. So now when you give everybody $1,000 a month and you essentially say, we're getting the boot off of your throat, you can look at your kid in the eye and say, when you're 18, your country's going to give you $1,000 a month because it loves you and it values you. You're a citizen. We're going to invest in our people. We're going to get the boot off of your fucking throat so that way you can pay your bills. And then we can see what other great things we can do because now you can actually trust the government to do something. My small town of 500 people got $500K every month. This lady just opened up her business. I love her cookies. Now she has a storefront. I'm going to go there every morning to support her. What else could we possibly do to make sure that that small town of 500 doesn't go down to 300 and 200 and those people don't kill themselves? Our life expectancy has dropped for 3 years in a row now because of drug overdoses and suicides. This is real.
And everybody our age is like, hell yeah.
But this is real. People are going home. They're seeing their communities shrivel up. And we're talking about not necessarily us, but a lot of fucking people out there where it's like, what do I have? I feel like I'm getting squeezed out, but we made America great. The unemployment rate's, most down that it's been in a long time. GDP is super sky high. Stock market prices, they're doing great. Those are the 3 ways to measure our economy. Yang says that that's so backwards. You got to include in that measurement of how we measure our country's success, life expectancy, how our children are doing in terms of mental health, stress, freedom from substance abuse, all these other factors, clean air, clean water, stuff that actually matters to us and our planet and our well-being. Now you include all those as factors of how our country is doing. Every year at the State of the Union, he has a PowerPoint presentation where he says, hey, 8 Americans are dying every hour because of a drug overdose. And that's not good. That's like a plague. We got to cut that down in half, right?
Yeah.
The fact that he's like, okay, these are the measurements that we actually care about. Can our elderly retire with dignity? Meaning, are they able to not have to work until they're dead? Can we do that? We have numbers for all this shit. It is not hard. And he can do that on the first day. He says he literally walks down to the Bureau of Economic Analysis and says, hey, GDP, fuck you. American Scorecard, where it has 3 things from GDP and everything else. And that's how we measure the economy. So if you're a company and now you start impacting those numbers, now we give you tax breaks. And those are the measurements that we want. Are our kids doing well? Are we doing well? How's our planet doing? Get specific. All the measurements that we would want.
I would just like people to plant trees. I just want to say that on this podcast. Go plant some trees. I don't know. Go grab some acorns and go put them somewhere.
And real quick, just want to give a quick shout out to our sponsor. If you're enjoying the episode today, make sure you leave a like and comment down below. Sponsor for today is The Andrew Yang Train website. Let's go, baby. I'm going to actually have custom sticker pack options available. So if you want 5 of any sticker, you can go ahead and place that order. I'm going to have the link down in the description down below.
I'm going to plant some trees.
All right, hold on. So I've been preaching for a minute. Chris, we'll start with you. Where are you at with all this?
So here's my concern, Steve. I am glad you have turned this over to me. So what you were saying sounds fantastic, but I got a question for you, sir. I would like you to explain exactly what happened with Mr. Yang, with a certain group of employees.
Oh, wait.
And some whipped cream.
Okay, yeah. So
now they got me a little worried, Steve, because as far as you guys can remember, I'm not very familiar with politics. So when I see Yang doing some crazy stuff like pouring whipped cream into people's mouths, I get a little concerned.
And note that Chris is easily spooked. Everyone.
Very
easily spooked.
Very easily spooked.
Okay, for context, Chris one day told me he was freaking out in the car that he almost saw the KKK. What it was is
it was a very legit concern. They were wearing white robes.
It was like 7 p.m., so it was like super dusk.
You live in the South, for God's sake. It's not
super dusky outside.
You got a little worried.
He was getting out of the gym, and then he didn't realize there was a church across from the street of the gym, and he saw these people walking in white robes, but they're totally nuns. Anyway.
Listen.
But seriously.
What's funny is Chris is also white. So he doesn't have reason to fear the KKK.
This is not the Bash Chris podcast. Let's get back to the topic at hand.
All right, we'll get back to your cream, sir. Go ahead.
Yes, sir. No, but with everything, like, where are you at? My goal is to not convince you. I just want to share with you all the information I heard that just made so much sense. That makes me believe this man is going to win, and he's the kind of fucking president that kids are going to grow up reading these books, being like, holy fuck, thank you.
The American Scorecard sounds fantastic. I think that's definitely something that we should have, especially with all the stuff that's going on now. I mean, when you talk about like our environmental issues and such, it's so important that as a country we take a closer look at that. Education, like everything about
life expectancy, clean air, clean water, how our elderly are doing, everything.
Yeah, just the opportunities of growing our country and everything, and also making sure we're happy and healthy. I think it's super important to take a look at that.
Well, also everybody is depressed. Like today's society.
Everybody hurts. Ooh, I hit that chord a little bit.
Yeah.
Maybe so.
With everything I said, what are your thoughts, Carter?
Well, I would say my thoughts on the subject. Everybody's depressed. And if there's like a president that cares about the mental state of the population, then I'm all for it.
That's a really important topic. I mean, look at the topic of mental health right now in this country. Look at all the issues we've been having lately about like shootings and such, especially the increase of shootings over the years.
Yeah.
I mean, that's all a lot pretty much related to mental health. Mm-hmm. Like mental health has become something that like doesn't get focused on enough in this country, and there needs to be some serious reform in that category about treating that and making sure those people can function in society and live happy, healthy lives.
Right. Stop shaking the table. No, go ahead.
Say all that again, but without the sugar.
Sugar, how you get so flat? No, go ahead.
I don't know, like, Carter brings up a good point about the mental health and everything. That's what I'm thinking. I'm big on education too, so as long as we get like education going in this country,
right.
Again, I would very much love to see good education.
Unless you
I too, like Chris, would love to see good education. Speaking of education, I'm a big proponent for those schools where they kind of teach the kids what they want to learn. They don't have set class hours and stuff like that.
What? It's just going to be kids that don't learn anything. This is gym.
No, but I mean, you have some very serious interests
no, that's true.
as a child in like different things. Like maybe you're just way into rocks and you just
That's true.
Fucking love
just
rocks.
Like the extracurricular activities in schools and everything that they've gotten rid of over the years, like band and all that, like construction. I mean, we had construction in high school. IT, TV production. We had all those.
I was
programs.
in graphic design.
Yeah, graphic design. All those are going away, and those are serious career choices for people to potentially go into. And like, how would you possibly know whether or not you could really enjoy it unless you actually dabble in it a little bit? And what better way to dabble in it than in school?
Self-directed education. I love that good school.
I love me some dabbling. I mean, I stayed with the medic route, and now I'm a paramedic.
But you have way different long-term ambitions than like working as a paramedic.
Like right now, my plan actually, hopefully, to retire early is to just buy and rent houses, just as many as I possibly can.
Yeah.
In the next few years, and then just retire.
That's where a lot of people's wealth go to is their housing.
But don't tell nobody else to do that. It's a secret.
Oh yeah, he's giving away all this. I forgot I had that much pull where this one podcast is going to shut the game down. I'm so sorry. No, but so there's a debate in 2 nights on Thursday. There's only 7 candidates on the stage. This is the smallest that these debates have been. At the biggest, they had 2 nights of 12 different candidates. Now we're down to 7. Yang is the only person of color, which is interesting because we finally got to see if Asians were considered people of color, and apparently that is so. So, Very good. So if you're one of those kind of people where you want representation, he's your guy.
I just hope Yang could dodge the tough questions like he dodged the whipped cream question.
Stop. Oh, so here's the things that interesting about debate. It gets about like 8 to 10 million views. So if you consider every single second of airtime worth, thousands of dollars, and he gets 10 minutes of speaking time, that's a great opportunity. There's going to be 4 more debates until Super Tuesday in March. And that's when we figure out if all this was for nothing. All these fucking memes, these videos. We'll see if, this was just a nice little social experiment.
Constant harassment towards us.
Or if this Yang train is going all the way to D.C. in 2020.
And I've also heard that in this debate, if you fail to answer a question properly, the podium will just fucking launch you into the air.
That'd be so entertaining.
And your presidential run is over.
That is the way right there that we need to engage the audience.
That way they actually think about what they're going to say.
And then if they lie, they have a bucket of slime. And then you have a fucking Amanda Bynes come out with the dancing lobsters. I mean, I'd be down. No, but think about it. Hypothetically, we got a few minutes. Yang versus Trump, how would that debate go?
I think it would be hilarious to see Yang answer rational questions and Trump just be like, but you look stupid.
Oh my God, he's just going to be so...
Look at these hands, you got big hands, yeah.
That's Yang's Trump voice, New York voice, woman voice, everything voice.
No, Yang is just going to be so elegant and calm, and Trump's going to be like, what happened?
No, in all seriousness, Yang's going to bring a lot more substance. And like Trump, a lot of things about Trump is that Trump brings personality.
Yes.
But like Yang is the one who has the more rational sense.
What is this clown talking about? It's gonna be huge in 2020.
This fucking guy. But check out, unemployment rate.
I think that's Yang's real edge. So if it became a Yang versus Trump debate, I think Yang would honestly really shine.
All right, last question. Does Yang play Pokemon?
He played Dungeons and Dragons.
D&D?
Because he's like 45, so he played D&D back in the 80s.
Oh, okay.
That's what he said a few times.
It's a random question, but sure.
Let's see if he can get a critical hit in 2020.
All right, guys. Thank you so much. All right, and if you want to follow my friends, you can go ahead and follow them on their Instagrams. Carter's.
It is at @ThatFitFireMedic.
I'll have it linked in the description. Chris.
I don't really use my Instagram.
It is at Wonky Wolster.
Okay. I will also have that in the description. I appreciate you guys being with me, and we will see you on episode 3 of the Yang Train Podcast post-debate. Woo! Yang Train.